Hello everybody and welcome back to the walkthrough. So this time we're looking at Cleansing Chapel, and there's quite a few things to do in Cleansing Chapel, including our first meeting with Unbreakable Patches. So it's going to be an interesting stream. There's quite a few items, especially Twinkling Titanites. We're going to find at least 4 Twinkling Titanites in this section. And there's quite a few other things to do as well as getting to Rosaria's Fingers Covenant. So hopefully you enjoy it, and let's get started, shall we? So first of all, we're just going to check on our weapons. Always good to make sure that you've got fully upgraded weapons. If you're sitting on Estus Shards or Titanite, Twinkling Titanites, best to use them. So actually, we'll go back in a little bit. We'll do this section first, then we'll go back and upgrade once we've got all the twinks. Because I know I could use those for my Irithel Straight Sword. Okay, so dropping down to the left, you can grab a twink from this first crystal lizard, and then just a bit around the corner there's another crystal lizard with another twink. This next section, there's only one item and it's all familiar enemies, so we're just going to actually drop down past the evangelists. Sometimes they'll hit you. Just roll past and you should be able to get the herald items and then get out of there. Once you got that, that's all the items in that small little section, so we're going to move on. So grab this bonfire. So that bonfire is called the Cathedral of the Deep bonfire, even though we've not quite made it to the cathedral yet. Okay, as you come down to the left, we just let him attack you. So as soon as he starts to attack you, you can get some spam attacks in. And again, just keep using that strategy mostly to work. Roll back as he attacks, and then spam attack back. Sometimes you need a little bit more space. Watch out when he two-hands it. Sometimes he will do that weapon art. Rolling left to right will generally avoid the weapon art, and again, same with the throwing knives. Jumping attacks are also good, just gets that bit of distance. Obviously there's some NPCs that keep spamming attack because they will parry you. This, as far as I know, can be quite annoying. Can take quite a while to finish him off. All you get from killing him is souls, but you will be able to more easily get the Paladin's Ashes, which you can get some undead hunter charms from, which is again useful for farming that symbol of avarice. Luckily we got the symbol of avarice early on, but I'll show you another mimic that you can farm it off in the cathedral. Just coming up to the left here, another Titanite shard, and then going back down to the bonfire. You can rest the bonfire here again. He won't respawn, so there's no harm in doing it. Gives you a bit extra Estus. From there you can go through the trees, hug the wall to the left, sorry, I was going to say to the right. And then hug to the right. And then head up to the left again. And you'll get the crest shield. Now the crest shield is another pretty good shield for the fact that it gives you 100% of physical resist, as well as giving you 86 dark resist. So it's very good for physical and dark. There's a couple of other crest type shields that I'll be pointing out that have very good resistances for certain types of magic. Or elemental, should I say. So again, if you bait that attack, it just gets easy spam. And then when he buffs, if he's on low health, easy way to kill him. Also, he'll drop the Spider Shield. Now, the Spider Shield was really useful in Dark Souls 1 for blocking against poison. But in Dark Souls 3, it really doesn't have too many great effects. It's a lightweight shield, so that's one benefit. Heading up through the next area, there is a specific path to take. If you go to the right, you will get attacked by everyone. If you hug the wall to the left, you'll have a lot less trouble. So, hugging the wall to the left, you'll have a dog come up from behind. So as you get to this point, turn around, watch the arrows. You'll have this dog come at you, hold up your shield, and finish him. Again, these dogs, if you're trying to speedrun the area and not deal with the enemies, they will come up behind you, they will teleport. One of the things which is really frustrating in speedruns. So again, taking out all these enemies it just makes it easier, and it also lets you get this item over here. So we're going towards the item now. Just roll through these if you're not too much damage. So there's your soul item. And now we can keep moving on, but we do have a dog still potentially after us. Just trying to see if he's going to reach us. Oh, I was holding up a shield, I thought. Just held it up the wrong time. There we go, bounce off and easy kill. Okay, coming through this area, now these guys will try and set themselves alight and run and jump on you. Easiest technique is to just literally avoid them, so as they come, wait for him to buff and then roll to the left as he tries to get you, and he'll just kill himself. Saves you having to do the work, so always useful. Okay, so if you have the DLCs, you have Gale over here. We will actually follow Gale into Snowfield just because otherwise he'll just keep talking to us. And it does get kind of frustrating every time you get back here to be sort of forced out of your menus. So what we're going to do is we're just going to light the Cathedral Bonfire. And now if you don't have the DLCs, you can just skip this bit if you're rewatching the video. But if you do have the DLC, it's to follow Gale to Snowfield, just so that you don't have the annoyance of dialogue every time. So he's talking about a lady that he wants you to show flame to. That's referring to Sister Freed. And he talks about you being Ash, and he's been waiting for you. And he sort of indicates that he's actually Ash as well.
They of Ash never fail. Just a moment, then. The painting of Ariandel. Well, rotted scrap of it, that is. Go on.
This bit's sort of super creepy.
Take it. Touch it.
Especially how he trembles as he holds it. So in Dark Souls 1 we went into the painted world of Ariamis. This is sort of a little throwback to that in a sense. We got the painted world of Ariandel. But it is actually quite a different world. And you'll see... Once we get into the DLC walkthrough, which will be a fair bit later, we'll do that once we've got up to the end of the base game. You can go into it now, but it is fairly difficult at a low level, so I'd recommend finishing the base game first. Obviously, experienced players, I mean, I would go into Ariandel earlier sometimes just to get the Titanite slab and things that are there. There's quite a few. There's actually 3, if I remember correctly. But No need if you're new. You'll get enough slabs and everything without needing to come in here. You can grab the Rhine Bloom off, and you're welcome to talk to him or kill him. He really has very little to do with anything. But he does introduce the fact that the world is rotting.
And gentle, quick, as sweetly rotting. Ah, you're no exception, but you're safe now. Let it ease. Ariandel will make so as sweet.
He's just kind of given up. It sort of reminds me of the Crestfallen NPC in Dark Souls 1, just as you get to Firelink. Just kind of giving up on everything and just sitting at Firelink. Okay, we're going to head back to Cleansing Chapel. Now, an important tip for as you're going to go through this cathedral area is to make sure that you equip a torch, because we're going to have enemies with maggots in this area, and if they hit you with the maggots, you will get your bleed bar gradually increasing over time, and it will just keep causing blood loss. So if you have a torch or a blood red moss clump, you're able to get rid of that bleed effect instantly, which is really useful. Okay, so we've got the Cleansing Chapel bonfire now. Just a quick note, there is the notched whip just there that we've picked up. There is also 2 doors in this room. One is sort of the final shortcut that you'll get, and one's sort of the first main shortcut that you'll get back to the bonfire. Both of those come from the chapel itself, so we've got quite a run to that chapel, but we will have those 2 shortcuts. Shortcut as well that we'll get before we get either of those. That's sort of the first one that you'll want. Okay, these guys just try and hit 2 at a time, and usually that's a pretty simple method of getting rid of them. Grab the Estus Shard, just pointing out for those of you who might miss it. Estus Shard item, make sure you get that there, very important. That'll get us up to 8 plus 1, I think. This graveyard, all these enemies will continually respawn, so as soon as you kill them, another one will take its place basically, so there's no point in going through and killing all of them. So what you want to do is you want to just head straight ahead and then look up to the left. Now this path to the left, you want to just get past these guys, and again turn slightly to the left and you'll pick up the Astora Greatsword. Now that's a really good ultra greatsword that you can use in the game. It's a slower weapon than the one than normal greatswords, but it does a lot of damage, and if you refined infuse it and then buff it, it can get up to very high levels. Or even I think lightning infuse is pretty good as well. Some people like lightning infuse, some people like dark infuse. Executioner's greatsword and a very small soul item there. I wouldn't even worry about the soul item, but just for completion's sake we got it. Executioner's greatsword I've never really been a huge fan of. I just find that the damage is not too high. Now again, make sure you got your torch equipped, as I was mentioning in the menus. So you can just press left on the D-pad now to swap to that. I just put it in the slot next to my shield. Roll as that guy tries to attack. He's one of the maggot enemies. Up the staircase and to the right we will be able to pick up a undead bone shard. Now that'll allow us to get to +2 for our Estus shard. Sorry, for our Estus. So grab that one. Watch out that you don't get maggoted. See, I just got maggoted, so I can just equip my torch, and that will now stop the bleed effect. A couple more items. There's repair powder there. Not really too important for Dark Souls 3. Soul item. Again, sometimes it's useful to kill that warden first. I'm used to my speedrun strats where I actually don't kill him, so that was a little bit of a mess up on my part. Just because I'm going a bit slower for the walkthrough's sake, just to make sure you see everything that I'm picking up. Okay, let's head back up through the graveyard. Now, I'll show you the quicker path through the graveyard now that we're not picking up all the items. So there is a path down that way. We could actually go there, or I tend to just come straight ahead and then drop off just over here. I'll just drop off there and I'll follow the path to the left. You can actually see below, there's the elevator, there's the ladder area just down there. You'll see some more maggot enemies. Okay, so watch out for the warden. Yeah, he does have a bleed effect on him as well, so it can be quite dangerous. Try and keep your shield up and get around him. Get that backstab. As soon as he's getting up, get a couple of stun hits in on him. The sooner you kill that, they can deal a lot of damage. Warden Twin Blades are a drop they can have. Those are very good for bleed. One of the best weapons for bleed in the game. On Kyrie and Obadachi is another good one, and Chaos Blade is another good one. Okay, so try and avoid these guys as you pick up the white branches. It can be quite tricky. You can kill them, but they take a bit of time. The giant is helping you because this is the white birch. That's all the items in this little section. Let's just equip our torch. Now this is important. Don't staircase to the left. Take this way to the right. Now to the right you'll be able to pick up the Curse Ward Great Shield, which is now actually a decent Great Shield that you can use. Much better than the Twin Dragon one. It has much better physical defense especially, and dark defense. So coming down the ladder, this is a very good shortcut that you can take from the bonfire. We will be using it to come back up. I typically go up to the left, but if you want to get the Bellvine, which is a sorcery item, you can come through these enemies. I'll show you a little technique for killing these enemies on the last one. I don't particularly enjoy it, but they're not too hard to get. So if you use your torch just to hit them, that actually stuns them, and then you can finish them off with typical hits. Again, I'm not going to worry too much, they just get annoying. Okay, so make sure you get your first crystal lizard. He will drop a twink. You can come back. Ooh. As I said, I don't usually go this way, so I'm not used to having those guys jump at me. Let's finish them off. Don't annoy us too much. You can see the damage is not too high, but it's the maggots that are the real annoyance. Wow, they really are going crazy. Yeah, maybe fight them one at a time. Like I said, I don't usually. Okay. Continuing on with our walkthrough. There is another crystal lizard just down this way with another twink. There we go. Make sure so easiest way to get them is to make sure you run the opposite way to the direction you want them to run, because they'll always run directly away from you. So that's our 4 twinks in this section from the Sage to the Cleansing Chapel. There is a Titanite shard up by that tree as well. Grab that one. Coming back down the staircase, there is a Ravenous Crystal Lizard to our left, so you can see all the crystals there. If you just roll into a couple, again I'm just going to get to full health. Roll into a couple and you can get the head start on him. Getting those couple of hits in means he'll stagger that little bit earlier. So again, wait for him to attack you, roll to the one side, and then you can continue to stagger him. 2 hits is my guide before you roll away. 2 hits. 2 hits. And if you need to get 1 hit in to be safe, you can do that, but 2 hits helps you get that riposte. So he'll drop some scales, and then if you come through this area, you've got another maggot creature. We're just going to stun him, and we're going to grab the item. There's a poison bite ring there. That's all the items in this section before we go back up that shortcut. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to head back to Firelink, upgrade my weapons with those twinks that we got. So I'm going to be using the Irithel Straight Sword for a bit because it's going to be my most powerful now. You can talk to Cirrus already, and she basically says that there's no point in helping each other. In this playthrough, as I said, we're not going to be able to follow Cirrus's playthrough because we're going to do Rosaria's Fingers. But if you choose not to do Rosaria's Fingers, you can do that playthrough. So we can give them the Farron Coal. Remember, we got that all the way back at Crucifixion Woods. So that allows more types of infusion, sharp and heavy. It's going to upgrade our Irithel Straight Sword, so we have just enough Twinkling Titanites now to upgrade that. And so it's doing 172 plus 44 damage, so 216. Whereas our current weapon is doing 136 plus 55, which is only 191.
Be careful.
Plus, we have the added benefit of the Irithel Straight's Frost effect after a number of hits, which slows the enemy down and deals damage as well. We do have a fair few souls, so we're just going to quickly level up. Mostly I'll be putting it into strength and dex, as well as health. So we'll just get our health up a little bit, and we'll get around 22. Try and get everything to 22-ish, but might go a little bit higher on health.
Farewell, Ashen One.
Less deaths in a walkthrough is always good. Again, we picked up that Undead Bone Shard, so you can use that here, as well as you can go and talk to Andre and use the Estus Flask Shard that we picked up. I think that's all we have in our inventory. We actually have 2 Estus Shards. So now we've got our 9 flasks plus 2. We want to be at this point. Okay, back to Cleansing Chapel. Let's continue the walkthrough. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to head now, instead of going up that staircase, head down to the right here, past those guys by the Estus Shard. You don't need to fight this guy as long as you're quick enough, so just get up to the ladder. And this is our ladder shortcut that we opened just a bit earlier past the Great Shield. So watch out for that warden again, so he'll be back. Again, try the backstab method if you can. Slightly missed that backstab. The shield will help protect against the bleed effect as well, so that's useful. And blood red mask clump, so that's another way to get rid of the build up of maggots. Just coming to the left first, there is a rusted coin here. Make sure you pick those up. Sorry, 2 rusted coins. And then there's the red bug pellets that we can pick up there. No items here, just enemies. I generally deal with the shield enemy first. Not any particular reason, just because, I don't know, I find these guys often kill themselves, so I'm not as worried. Again, they will throw the Undead Hunter Charms on you, so you can see that my Estus is greyed out down the bottom there now. So I can't use that until it wears off. Make sure you kill that guy around the corner. Now there is a shortcut. If you look down to the right, there's an area that you can jump off onto. That'll save you having to deal with the bowman as much, and it'll give you 2 Undead Hunter Charms that are just easily accessible from there. Watch out for the thralls that will fall down, so if you come this way you'll notice that there's a thrall up top. He'll usually jump down. So as they jump down, just get ready to finish them off. There are some enemies on the side here, so if you can kill them rather than getting the item first, so just knock them off before they get there. And there's our thrall. I think there might be 2. There we go, there's the other one. Okay, so down that way you can see that there are some people shooting bows, crossbows. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the shortcut method. Sorry, there's 3 thralls. I actually thought there were 2. They always seem to jump down at different points. I've never really got the strategy down for them. Okay, so instead of fighting this evangelist, if you're quick enough, roll past the attack or just grab the charms if they're going to do that hug attack, and then you can get through. Now if you want to take them on, you can take them on. It just means that they've got a bit further to get to you and they're not all hitting you at once. And what I'll often do is I'll run past them if I can, if the evangelist isn't going to be in the way the whole time. I'll run past them back to this area now, because there's less of them. So we've picked up those Undead Hunter Charms. Let's drop the spike mace. And then you've got the red bug pellets, but watch out for the thralls that are going to jump down. So as soon as you grab those, you can turn around and start slashing. You will lose a bit of Estus here, that's such a guarantee. I know some people can probably do it without, but not some people. There's that guy with a spear, so just kick his shield away and riposte. Now is where the tricky bit comes in, because we've got this big guy. He's actually been quite good to us and run forward, but often you have to bait him forward, otherwise you'll deal with him and thralls at the same time. So now you got your thralls, so there should be some running out of this room as soon as you get to the line with it. And then just try and catch these after they've swung, or hold your shield up and wait for them to hit it. Again, there's a couple of thralls on the roof here. Watch out for them to drop. There we go, there's one. Oh, we just missed the backstab there. And there's the other one. Just make sure there's no more thralls on the roof. There's no item here, but just saves you having to deal with them if they have remained up top. Now we can just backstab these guys. They're quite easy to finish off. Only problem is the Undead Hunter Charms. That boy is actually probably the one, in retrospect, that you want to kill first. You can wait for this Undead Hunter Charm to wear off. I'm pretty confident in my abilities, so I'm just going to take down this warden. I bait him here, because there's another warden that'll come from the left. So I'll bait him towards me, and then backstab. And then spam attack, and there you go. Again, bait him, walk around him, backstab, spam attack. Grey Wooden Hood. Again, these are random drops. Sometimes they drop their armor, sometimes they don't. These two guys are honestly a joke if you're patient enough. Just walk back. No more items other than the ember at the end there before we get into the actual cleansing chapel area. Apparently there's an enemy though. I forgot about him. So I'll backstab this one. Now there's going to be a big guy coming from the left. I tend to just try and hit these first two and then get back. Usually spam attack them because I will end up with so many enemies that I really don't want the big guy as well. And rolling back is going to be your friend. Roll to the side as they jump at you. Get behind and spam or backstab. If this guy holds up a shield, do the kick and riposte method. And there's your ember. Going into Cleansing Chapel. Now watch out because we have a little sludge boy on the ground. Sludge boy is the official term. Cough cough. These guys are just really jokes. Just the fire attack when they lots of them can get really annoying. Take this elevator down to the left. So this is the first thing you want to do is you get in the Cleansing Chapel. In my speedruns you'll see me absolutely bolt to get down that elevator, and if I'm not quick enough I'll have a Grave Warden jump down with me, which is super scary. So yeah, this is very useful because you can get back to the bonfire. We're actually good for Estus, so I could take the bonfire there, but there's all the enemies dead at the moment, so no huge need to. I'd probably recommend it for you guys, but I'm happy with my Estus here. Because again, we're not going to really see those enemies again as long as you've got the as long as you've got all those items. And if you're too low on Estus, or you get the items and then backtrack. That's always a good method. Another evangelist down here. The only reason you might come down here is for the gem that's down here, which is the deep gem. Sort of your dark gem equivalent, but it doesn't scale with intelligence and faith. It's kind of like more of a raw gem style, but with dark damage. So it just has a set damage rather than scaling with attributes. Same as like a fire gem, has a set damage rather than scaling with attributes. It just scales with the weapon level. I was trying to roll past that guy. I didn't manage to. I was about to call him out. Just right bumper, left bumper spam if you ever get caught like that. It's the same as if you get caught by the stray demon or anyone. Any grab attacks, right bumper, left bumper spam. Now, that giant will try and hit us. I've never really worked out the perfect strategy. I usually just bolt it. Lloyd's Ring is the main thing to get, the bigger item. Then you get the exploding bolts, and if you're brave, come back for that soul. I'm not usually brave. I usually just run through this area. I usually just get Lloyd's Sword Ring and move on. So just watch that giant and try and move. Jump as you beat him. There's a mimic in that room. That's one I farm for the symbol. But before we get that mimic, there's a couple of other things to get. There's a ladder up to the left that we'll be taking in a second. But first we're going to grab... So just notice those thralls. First we're going to grab Seek Guidance, miracle that allows you to see more messages and theoretically to summon someone without an ember. Never tried that one before, but supposedly it can do that. It's pretty cool if that works. So up this ladder, you've got an evangelist, and I'm pretty sure there's an item. Thought there's an item. Yes, there's an item. I never actually get this item, so I knew there was one up here, but I've never been bothered because there's a giant here as well. The one that we came across a second before. Ah, and it's an ember, so yeah, it's kind of worth it. You can either go down the ladder or drop down by the giant again. I'm sort of definitely one for the ladder method, because you don't get punched. It's always good. Okay, so you can farm for the Symbol of Avarice again here, so again, just reminding you, if you have the Undead Hunter Charms and you have the Rusted Gold Coin, there's multiple things you can do now. If you have the Crystal Sage's Rapier, I would equip the Crystal Sage's Rapier, so you transpose the boss soul from the Crystal Sage with Ludleth. You use the Transposing Kiln from the Greatwood, and you'll equip the Crystal Sage's Rapier in your left hand, so let's just pretend that's our Rapier. We'll equip the Symbol of Avarice if you already have it on your head. Obviously, you're most likely not to have it. If you have another Crystal Sage's Rapier, say if you're in New Game Plus, you can equip that in your right hand. We don't, so we're just going to use our normal sword. And then what we'll do is we will use our Rusted Gold Coin to give us a bit extra chance. If you have the gold Serpent Ring, equip that here now as well. Or the gold Serpent Ring +3. Again, that'll increase your chances. And then we'll throw our first charm. Again, this method can be done on any mimics in the game. This is the last time I'm going to be demonstrating it. And then we go, Symbol of Avarice, and the Deep Braille Divine Tome. Now the Deep Braille Divine Tome is a guaranteed drop, so make sure that you do grab that one from the mimic. Even if you just kill the mimic, you'll get it. So hit him again, and then another charm. You can actually throw the charm straight after you've hit him. Make sure you keep your health up if you do have the symbol. Notice I'm going down a fair bit. Alright, nothing there, and we can again hit him and throw the charm. And now that we've got the Paladin's Ashes, we can get more of those Undead Hunter Charms from the Shrine Handmaiden. Okay, so he's not dropped any more Symbol of Avarices, so that's enough for this one. Again, make sure you take that off fairly quickly afterwards. Okay, so a couple of thralls that we didn't kill, just be wary, they'll drop on you here if you do. If not, we got a Cathedral Knight, so get around him and backstab. And then just spam attack. And they're pretty simple if you do follow that method, but they can be really annoying if you stay in front of them. Just checking for thralls, doesn't seem like there are any. There's an item in here, but there's a spider that's going to drop down as well, you'll see him on the roof there. So grab your item, and then run back straight to the spider. There's two methods here, I'll show you the easy one, the hard one first. So try and hit him in the head and get him to stagger, and then you can riposte. I'm not going to riposte there because I want to show you that he can't actually come out of that room. So another method that you can do is to firebomb him from outside the room. Again, you can usually lock on, but because he's being stubborn, you can't right now. You'll see in a second. There we go, we can lock on, and easy way to kill him. So both of those methods work. I like the stagger method if you're more experienced. I'd recommend the firebomb method if you're not. But again, at some point you want to try and transition to be able to do the stagger, just to save some firebombs. Or not, it's really up to you. I just like the feeling of staggering something that big and riposting it. Personal preference, I guess. Use an ember here if you want to, I guess. There's a shortcut. If you're worried about Kirk, use the shortcut here and you can get to the bonfire even if he's in your world, and then fight him. If you're more experienced, you don't need to worry too much about that. Like, I'm just going to fight him off the bat now. Kirk is very fun to parry, just a point. So I'll just show you a quick parry on him, hopefully. I usually use small shields, so this could be interesting. So very fun to parry, but your main technique is going to be, so get him to attack, and then spam attack him back, and he does not like being spam attacked. He gets stun locked pretty easily. And there you go, not too hard. If you're quick enough, you can transfer to the Symbol of Avarice, get a couple extra souls from him. It does drop quite a few. Same as the giants, I'll often switch to the symbol for them. So coming down this way, this is your other shortcut that you can unlock. Going through the gate and going through this door over here. Ignore the elevator door to the right. We will be going through there soon, but we want to get patches first before we go through that area, so no need to open it just yet. Rest of the bonfire here. And then we're going to go back through the doors. You don't have to rest at that bonfire again. If you have enough Estus, you can keep going, but most of the time I don't have enough Estus because there's quite a few enemies in this area, and you've been through quite a lot by this point. There's no items on the sides there. There is items in the swamp and past some of the doors. So we're going to go through. We're going to go through the giant here. You can pick up these items while the giant's still here, but it is quite risky. I just tend to... If you fought the last giant in Dark Souls 2, or if you fought any other giant enemies, you should have a general idea on how to fight them. Stick by a leg, and he'll mostly just attack in front of him. He's actually easier than any of the last giant in that. He doesn't typically stomp, he does a small stomp every so often, but if you're all out the way, you're fine. So just focus on the leg, whatever leg's closest, and just watch out for the stomp. Sometimes I'll change leg if it's easier to get behind him that way. And there we go. I'm just going to quickly see if I can get the symbol on. Yep, we got it on, so 6,600 souls. He will drop a large Titanite shard. Make sure you pick that up. It's guaranteed. He also drops a dung pie, but that's only if you want to poison people. Sorry, I don't even know. Poison or toxic, one of the two. You can use the twin dagger. I'll just show you, anyone who's interested. You can use the twin dagger to quick step. So, and left trigger, you can quick step through the swamp. It does use FP, so if you want to save your FP, don't do this. But no big deal either way. You can just roll through. Open these doors. Now you need to open this door to trigger patches to enter. There's also another door upstairs that you need to open to trigger patches to come here. So I will just point that out because it is a very important part of the NPC questline. Through these doors there's nothing hugely amazing. There's the Saint Bident if you're a cleric type person, so it's a spear item that yeah, it scales with faith somewhat, but it's not that powerful in my opinion. And then there's 2 homeward bones there as well. Rolling through the swamp, we will eventually get there. I tend to roll just because I find that changing weapons, changing back is just frustrating every time. But yeah, it does make a little bit of a difference if you want to use the twin dagger. It doesn't have to be the twin dagger. There are other things like the murky hand. I think even the band. If you see something with quick step on it, that's a weapon art you can use. It is also incredibly frustrating in PvP if you're versing people who use it. They'll just dodge majority of your attacks by continually spamming quick step. If you want to troll and use it, that's a bit silly. Can be effective though. I think some people get hits on me while avoiding everything, so can be effective. Very frustrating though. Okay, just equipping the symbol because we've killed the giant. Now I tend to avoid these spiked enemies. Watch out for them in the swamp. You can kill them off with fire weapons. They work quite well. I don't actually have any fire weapons. I just and grab the item. I can't be bothered. So there's all the draying items here. There's also the large Titanite shard you need to make sure you get from the giant. So we now have enough to upgrade our broadsword. There is the man grub there. He can put maggots on you. Just be aware of that. And there's the pale tongue there as well, so covenant item for Rosaria's fingers. We will be using one just so that we can follow that quest line and get the gesture off Hazel a little bit later. Okay, so now this area is a little bit tricky because you've got all these cathedral knights and everything. My typical method is I will run around the back of it, I will grab the item, and then if you choose you can fight all the enemies. What I will do is I'll show you a method. There's multiple. I'll take the deacons first, just because they'll shoot fire at you if you don't. Get behind that guy if you can. Doesn't want to be backstabbed. Now there's two ways of doing this. You can take on that cathedral knight first, or what I like to do is I like to hit away this bench, and then you can actually backstab this one straight away. And that makes you safe from the other one for a second. If you can finish him, do that, and then get behind the other one. So again, wait for him to attack, hold your shield up, get behind, and backstab. And then spam attack as soon as he's getting up to finish him off easily. Cathedral Knight Helm. So they do have a chance to drop their armor set. They also have a chance to drop a couple other things, like the Cathedral Knight Greatsword if they're holding it. So to show you Patch's questline, we're going to go up this elevator. I'm going to show you where he's not, and then I'm going to show you where he's going to appear as soon as I open the door. So you have to open this door and the doors down below to get this to... So you'll notice if I look down here now, there is no Patches standing there. As soon as we go and open the door, we're going to come back and Patches is going to be there. That's sort of a spoiler alert. I should have warned you about that. He's acting as Sigurd, so you'll think that it's Sigurd down there, but you'll quickly learn that it's not, and you'll be thrown back into remembering Dark Souls 1 and potentially even Dark Souls 2. Let's grab this item first. There's some jewel charms, and then we'll talk to Patches. Now you can kill Patches here for the Katarina set and the horse hoof ring. That is sometimes a good method if you're not worried about following his quest line, because it allows you to do Sigurd's quest line a little bit earlier. In this case we're going to follow his quest line because we want to have all NPCs other than Cirrus done in this walkthrough. So he claims to be a Knight of Katarina, claims to be Sigurd. He says to go across the bridge, and there's treasure there. Sounds familiar.
I know. Treasure is so sorely tempting.
Alright, so let's go across and follow his instructions. It sounds good, doesn't it? Now you can actually see Patches later on. If you don't, you can meet him at Firelink Shrine, and we'll show you what'll happen there as well.
Thought you could outwit an onion.
But to follow Sigurd's quest, you do need to. Ooh, I think you need to meet
Say
him.
hello to the nice giant. He adores visitors.
So if you haven't killed the giant, you will have to fight the giant here.
Where's the old giant?
But if you have killed him, you get this extra dialogue.
Just what have you done? How dare you?
Okay, so from here we're going to get up to where Patches has gone across to. So he's gone across that bridge that we tried to cross a second ago. So there is another method of getting up there, so we're going to follow that one now. I still have enough Estus. If you don't, you can go through those doors and rest at the bonfire again. So up this elevator, and then there's going to be an enemy as soon as we get to the top, so get ready to finish him. Nothing hard. No items in there. There's going to be one upstairs, which is actually achieved from defeating the enemy up here. It's the deep ring. So rolling down onto this area, you can, there's going to be a thrall that comes up, so you can hit him off straight away if you choose to. Up to you. So as you come down this way, just come out of that area, because it's very hard to get any backstabs or anything on him in there. And then you can backstab. And finish him off. Continuing down this way, we're going to get a pale tongue. And we're going to get arrow blessed as well, the crossbow. Try and take these guys on one-on-one. Gets really annoying if you get both. You can bait them. So to the right, you'll see an item down, I think it is the next one. There we go. There are some thralls that'll drop down. Just don't worry about them until you've got the item. Turn around and fight them. So there's Arrow Blessed. It is a decent crossbow. One of the one-shot crossbows as opposed to like which is the repeating crossbow. But it is quite effective. That thrall, watch out for the other one to come up top. And then grab the pale tongue over here. Now if we're running forward, we're going to find another path to the right. If we go up this path, we can get a blessed gem. So follow this path to the right, watch out for these thralls, and watch out for falling off the edge. So when the thrall comes at you, make sure you're holding up your shield, just to ensure he doesn't hit you off the edge, because that is extremely frustrating. Another Cathedral Knight, again try and strafe past him, so shield up and then just walk around him and backstab. I slightly missed the backstab timing. There we go. And then again, as he's coming up, easy attacks. So there's a Blessed Gem. That allows you to infuse a weapon with Blessed, which is actually scaling in Faith, and it also increases your health over time. Shield up for those thralls. Now this guy, if you make him chase you and you actually turn to the right fairly quickly, you should get some souls, because he falls off the edge. Otherwise you'll have to fight them. There we go. I often bait them out into that area and fight them, but they will fall off the edge if you're quick enough. Now this guy's going to try and shoot you with a crossbow. Just hold your shield up. It'll take quite a bit of stamina off you, but you should be okay. And then I do bait this guy into this area. And then what you can do is you can just get behind him, backstab, and same technique as the rest. And we got his great shield as well, which is quite a good great shield. My great shield of choice tends to be the Dragon Slayer's great shield, just because, sorry, the Dragon Slayer one, don't remember exactly what it's called. I think it's the Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayer's great shield. But it blocks huge amounts of lightning, which is really good for Nameless King. And it also blocks a lot of, it blocks 100% of physical damage, and a lot of everything else as well. So if you talk to Patches here, the most efficient option is actually to be sort of accusing of him, because he'll give you an extra
Unbreakable patches.
he'll give you an extra item and gesture. So, do you have business with me, Axel Innocent? You say, you know who I am,
Yes, of
and then
course.
suddenly his memory's triggered. Wow.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That was my hand, as you know. But the deed, well, it was the armour's doing. Regrettable, truly. But behold, I'm stripped clean of that unruly attire. And look at you. Not a scratch.
Blaming the armor for what he's doing.
Right? Yes, we'll be fine. I can tell. It's that rotten curse. It is. The untidy mess.
So you get the prostration gesture,
Yes. Now, it wasn't me.
and he gives you an apology, which is rusted coin.
You shouldn't.
Now, importantly, you do need to talk to him because he's selling things, and you can get the Katarina set here. Buy that even if you're not interested in the armor set, because we're going to be giving that to Sigurd to further his quest. You do need to do this to follow Sigurd's quest. If you don't do it here, he won't appear in the later areas. You need to make sure that you do this first before we meet him in any future areas. If you want to get anything else, you're very welcome to. Alluring Skulls can be useful if you don't have any already, but you should have picked those up if you're following this walkthrough. You can get some show tells as well, which are weapons that get past shields, so that's sort of the one type of weapon that we haven't really looked at too much yet. You don't need the pierce shield. Sigurd only needs the armor. Lots of man grubs here, so I actually just kill the sorcerer first. I'll then sort of run out to the middle, and that'll trigger all the rest to drop, and then literally you can just sort of get in the middle of them. And if you've got a straight sword or a great sword or something, you can kill a whole heap with a couple of hits. Sort of satisfying. So running around them to the side, use your run ability rather than your roll. I just find it's easier. And then this guy, if you kill him, he doesn't actually attack you, but he gives you the red sign soapstone. So if you're looking to invade other people's worlds, very useful item, because especially at Pontiff, you can put it down and lots of people will usually summon you for like a fight club, which means you're just fighting them one-on-one and not using Estus. Through this area, this is Rosaria's chamber, so if you grab the bonfire first, you can then grab Kirk's armor, and then you can join the Rosaria's Fingers Covenant. Now, important thing about this one is you can join the Covenant without actually triggering Sirius to get annoyed with you, but as soon as you use a Pale Tongue, so as soon as you offer a Pale Tongue, that will trigger Sirius to be hostile towards you. So there is a way the Dark Moon loyalty here without having done that. So what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll offer a Pale Tongue a little bit later once we've got the Dark Moon loyalty gesture from Sirius. So I will show you that much. But we'll be following the Rosarias just because that allows you to get all the gestures straight away. So what we can do from here is we can travel back to the Cleansing Chapel, and we're going to get Sigurd out of his well situation. That's going to allow us to get to the next point where we meet him, which is going to be in Irithul. So a lot of things to do before you verse the boss in the Cleansing Chapel. It's a very, very big area. Even though it doesn't look it, there's a lot of different places to go and items to pick up. Just a couple of notes. The Rosaria's Fingers Covenant means that you can invade other players and get Pale Tongues, so that's the way that you can get the Covenant rewards for that one.
Hello? Anyone there?
So there's Sigurd and as well.
I know that voice. Just how long has it been? It's me, Siegfried of Katarina. I'm loath to admit it, but I've been had. Someone's swiped my armor.
Someone swiped his armor. I wonder who.
Did you happen to see
There we go. We can throw the armor.
my
What's they said?
deepest gratitude? I, Siegfried of Katarina, salute you. With my trusty suit of armor, I'll be out of here in a jiffy.
Sigurd's so enthusiastic, even when he's trapped down a well. So he gives us the rejoice gesture. Again, there's lots of gestures that you get here.
No need to work with my trusty.
Yep, so he's going to be out there, and that's all you need to do once you've talked to him until he repeats his dialogue. We'll be able to see him in Irithil next. So that's all the items in Cleansing Chapel. We're now just going to head to the Deacons of the Deep boss, which is really a bit of a joke of a boss fight if you know what you're doing and you have powerful weapons. I don't recommend summoning NPCs for the Deacons of the Deep boss fight. It's quite a easy one without them. If you summon them, you're going to increase the health pool of bosses, so that's a rule through the whole of Dark Souls. The more NPCs you have, the higher the boss health pool gets. Although, having said that, if you do have real players that want to join you, if you have other people's summon signs or friends that want to join you, it does still increase the health pool of the boss, but they tend to be a lot more effective than NPCs, so it is, in my opinion, worth having one other person help you if you're struggling. So you'll notice, just to point them out, you do have Henri's sign here, you will have Horace, and then there also can be, if you have helped Sirius, so say you've gone Farron Keep area first, and you are friendly with Sirius, you'll have Sirius's sign here as well. Deacons of the Deep fight, just look for the guy who gets the red on him, attack him, and then run away. So if you get outside the Deacons, you can see where the next one's going to come, and then again, a couple of hits on them, and move out. I don't recommend backstabbing, it just takes longer than it's worth most of the time, so it's just easier just to try and hit the main person with the red, and if you can get some around him, it just helps clear the area a little bit. You'll notice I try and hit a couple more around him when I hit the main enemy. Alluring skulls are really useful for this fight as well. I know it's not really much of a boss fight once you know what you're doing, but it is useful. Kill these blue, make sure you kill the blue guys instantly, because they will heal the main boss now. And then what we can do is we can throw an alluring skull, and all the Deacons will run towards that. And literally, it is just completely simple just to smash this final boss once they've all run away. Oops, I got a little bit distracted there. So again, we do have quite a few fireballs, so if you are struggling, just chuck another alluring skull and it makes this boss fight even more of a joke. And there we go, that's Deacons of the Deep, and that is the end of this walkthrough. Equip the Symbol of Avarice if you've got it, always good to get the extra souls. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and it's one where we do Farron Keep. Thanks guys, see you next time.